What's going on, good people? What is going on? I'm gonna let y'all come in. Gonna let y'all come in. Wait on my girl to come in. Is she in? Let's see. I don't know. I'm waiting on my girl to come on in. Let me know if you hear. If you hear Coonrod, let me know and hit the request to join the link to join the live. Mm, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Coonrod girl, where you at? Come on my live, Coonrod. Come on my live, girl. Now, if you in the live, if you looking, hit the request to come on. All right. Let's see. You gotta hit the request. I see what you said. Bring me on. I don't see no request. Oh, do it from your phone. Do it from your phone, not from your laptop. Yeah. What's going on, y'all? I see y'all coming in. I see y'all coming in. I appreciate it, y'all. I appreciate it. I see y'all coming in. I see y'all coming in. I see you, Jessica. I see you popped in real quick. I appreciate it. I see y'all popping on in. We about to go live. I'm waiting on Coonrod to jump on in here real quick. All right, boom. There she go. There she go. I sent the. There she is. Oh,
I finally found it.
yeah,
I finally
yeah.
found it.
That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Welcome again, y'all. Welcome to What's the 423 podcast. This your homeboy, big homie Sean Nix. We finally on this thing. I got my girl Coonrod in the house. She walking through the house trying to get officiated. I appreciate it, my girl. I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. This is our Juneteenth edition, y'all. This is our Freedom edition. And there's no better person to talk about freedom than my girl. former council, always city council woman, soon to be state house rep woman, Demetrus city council woman, Demetrus Coonrod. I love you so much, girl. Welcome to What's the 423 podcast.
Yes, what's up, Sean Nix, baby? Listen, thank you for inviting me to come to the 423 podcast. Excited to be here, man. Ready to dive in. What we talking about?
Well, I want you to tell your story about from how you went from former convicted felon, right, to sitting next to the governor and getting bills signed.
Man, listen, Nix.
That's what you call freedom. So tell us how you got free.
Man, listen, I gotta wipe the sweat off my forehead, you know what I mean, with that one. But really, Sean, what it came down to, and I'm gonna call you Nix because that's what we go by. We rock by last names, you know what I mean? I'm the only one who can call you Nix. And when we go into deep conversations, when we say Nix, it's about to go down. But you know what, Nix, it was a journey, really. First, I want to say, I struggled to try to figure out how to join the live. So don't go to prison, folks, because as technology was advancing, I was behind bars. You know what I mean? Writing down on lined paper that probably cost 15 cents back then, but now that kids don't even use. But it was inside those walls that really burst what I wanted to come outside the walls, and just really experience freedom at that point. You know what I mean? Like, just to be able to govern my own self without having the systems attached, if that makes sense, because I realized earlier on that those systems most definitely isn't for people that look like you and I, that share the same skin hue as we do. And just, grinding it out, right? Because before that title or that hat that I added, uh, to my resume, I just was boots on the ground. Like, I put the meaning to boots in the ground before people even started dancing the line dance to boots in the ground. And it's just getting to really know people, not just meeting them where they are or where they were, but elevating them to the next level to make sure that they can see and understand the possibilities that's ahead of them, right? Because we know what struggle is. We know
Right.
that like we flipping pancakes. You know what I mean? We
Period.
breathe that, we live that, we wear that like it's a badge of honor, right? So I understood what that was. And for me, it's like, man, how can we get people from the mindset to shift it past just identifying and wearing the struggle as if we're superheroes? And it's like, struggle becomes heavy, right? It's a
Right.
cost to pay for that. And just having an opportunity to sit by Governor Lee. And in fact, I don't agree with everything that he does. In fact,
Period.
we on two different sides of the aisle with each other, Dix. But what I do agree with is his stance on criminal justice reform. That's why I draw the line there with him, and anything that I have introduced to him, he's always on board, supportive, past the legislation with no pushback or anything, because he has a heart for criminal justice reform. Now, anything else, like, it's a battle. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's a battle. It's not, and which is a battle that I'm always down for, right? Because our people have to understand, like, it's different levels to our government, and I'm sure you probably gonna ask more questions into that. So I just stick to, my life before council. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been the same person. You know what I mean? It was times before, like, even when I was just organizing in the community and preparing, and then once I got ready to run for office, you would think that people would be more celebratory for you. Like, okay, yeah, let's run for office. But and it was I got those people, because being in the streets, as we say, where I come from, where I was grown from, I had the support of my community in that way. But when you think about the people that they want you to rub elbows with and feel like you're supposed to get quote unquote permission for, I couldn't allow myself to do that, because I feel like this is a free world. Like, as long as I qualify to run, I ain't gotta ask nobody for permission to run. You know what I mean? And some people just didn't like that. And
Hmm.
and it was me against the establishment. They just didn't appreciate the girl that come from the hood, the girl that was a convicted felon that changed her life around. And so many
Hmm.
people was championing and saying, yes, Coonrod changed her life around. We're so proud of her. All these people that was in positions and politicians, those people. But once I got into their lane, per se, they didn't like it. I had to kind of swerve and dodge different bullets to keep them from running me off the road, because they felt like I didn't belong in that space. But I most definitely belonged there. And so Yeah, that was it. It was a struggle, but I always stayed true to who I am, for
You
sure.
know what? I love how you said you belong there. You already knew you belong there. And see, that's the key. If you already know who you are on the inside, can't nobody on the outside deter you from who you are.
That's
Because
it.
stronger is he that is within me than he that's within the world.
That's
So
it,
I can
Sean. Ooh, you gonna get me over here praising because listen, I owe it all to him, all to God. Because when I was inside of those walls, I made God a promise if you just get me out of this situation alive. And it could have been times to where, I could have lost my life. So much had done happened in there that you wouldn't even think that go on in prison, right? And you hear people talk about it, but you don't really hear people come out and experience that and share what they've experienced behind those walls. It's devastating. It's traumatic. It's so much. People get killed, people get raped, and I just so happen to be a victim of sexual assault by people who you think that's there to monitor the prison. You know what I mean? Like our lives are taken advantage of, and just having an opportunity to represent people, right? So I actually never picked up to identify as I'm a politician or any of those things because I serve the people, right? And
that's
that was always, I have the heart to serve. I learned how to serve earlier on, even within the church, outside of the church, because Miss Mamie Coonrod, my grandmama didn't play. She didn't play it. Like, you were going to serve in some kind of capacity. And so I always had the heart for human beings, no matter what color the skin that you got, no matter what your gender identifiers are. Like, my role was just genuinely to love on people and making sure that we're helping people get to where they need to be. And I didn't look at, oh, well, you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. I didn't care nothing about that. If you were somebody who I could help and I connect with, I was ready to do that.
all right. I like that. Now we're gonna go ahead and flip it a little bit because I want to know. You gave me that little precursor, your little prelude coming in into the criminal justice system, your experiences, and I know you can go more greater in detail. So we're gonna have to do a part two on that part when we come in and have you come in the fall, come talk about criminal justice reform. Because
That's
that's
right.
big here in Tennessee. We gotta get these private prisons out of Tennessee. They just had a prison riot at Core Civic in Tennessee here. So y'all, when it come down to these elections, and we're gonna get into this soon later on in this podcast, but think about it. You gotta start thinking, is my life better now than will is my life better now than it was 4 years ago?
Exactly.
And if your life is not better, in some type of capacity, let it be economically, socially, let it be in breathing clean air. Because in Memphis, they fighting for clean air. And
Right.
you got Democrats fighting amongst Democrats because you got some folks that's selling out. But we gonna listen.
Yeah,
We
we
gonna
gonna
get
go
into
and
that.
get out. We gonna get into that, baby. I ain't gonna let you take over my time on the podcast, but you did mention something that I gotta hop on to. I gotta grab on to it, right? You said that the people in Memphis, they trying to breathe clean air. But when you think about here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County, we're just trying to breathe all together. The air in Chattanooga and Hamilton County is super thick, right? And it's a
Yep,
lot of stuff that's said and unsaid that people have become afraid to speak out, right? And even when we come about, I've always voted Democrat simply because my grandmother was like, oh, well, we got to vote Democrat. But as I done got older, I realized that ain't even the move for black people. Republicans ain't even the move for black people. So I tread on both sides of the aisle, right? Because I know when you have to govern and try to get business done for your people that's struggling, that's in poverty, you got to navigate both systems. You got to navigate all systems. You know what I mean? And I
right.
get a lot of flack for that, right? Because the people will
Mm-hmm.
say, "Oh, we gonna go there. We gonna
You
go there."
you
I
do
just let's
you know
skip
we
on through
just
this.
go ahead and go there now. Let's
Let's
just
go
go
and go
ahead.
there because
Let's get authentic.
the most painful thing I can say is that like people I've ran into being disliked. You know what I mean? And growing up in the different communities of impoverishment, you don't always had to fight your way out because somebody don't like you because my hair was long. Somebody didn't like me because my lips was thick. Somebody didn't like me because I had hips and a big ass. I mean, okay, we could deal with those things, right? But to
Right,
not like a person because they're advocating for the very people that you say you want to help that's been traditional, marginalized, at a disadvantage, historically. right? And to keep placing the same people that's going to introduce policy that's going to keep people sheltered in place, cemented to continue to be in poverty. Like, I got a problem with that. And it
Clock
was
it.
and it was said to me that they find me to be the most oppositional when it comes to legislation and things like that, and is because I'm not a rubber stamper, right? I'm gonna ask those questions, and if that means that and it's gonna be a lot of times that, hey, well, Coonrod, you ain't gonna get this. Nothing is in the budget for your area. Okay, cool. It's never been nothing in it because we may get a sidewalk, we may get a pothole filled up that the rain gonna take out in the next year or two.
Right.
These things are possibilities that's gonna happen if you don't go along with the plan. And I'm not a go along to get no sidewalk. We've been those low level fruit that we've been getting has only caused our communities to continue to be distressed,
Come
continue to
on
be
now.
placed in the hands of developers that come
Come
into
on
our
now.
community to build us out. Because when you say that you 15 minutes away from downtown, people want to be downtown. But when you telling me that people that don't look like me they left the community flight to go somewhere better because black people was moving in.
Come
Then you
on.
told the black people that these areas are not the best areas and you take everything absolutely out. Then you start building, but you building for us to be gone. You give us these Section 8 vouchers and tell us, go live here and go live here and go live here. Continue to be rentals. Go wherever you want to go that you think that the grass is greener on the other side. We just don't want you here in the core center, right? So now you see people running, jogging with booty shorts on and a little slight of shy of having on a pair of thongs, walking their dogs outside. And then they say now the community feels safe, right? And you can have all the shotgun shots and killings that it is, but guess what they gonna say? Oh, the community is safe. It's the words that they use and the different labels that they attach to different situations to bring people with money so the socioeconomic status can change, right, in our communities. So
Listen.
those, yeah,
Listen, y'all. She telling the truth, y'all, because I lived it, y'all. My family, I grew up on the west side and I grew up on the south side, right there on Mentor Avenue. And I used to see, this is back in the early 90s, y'all. I used to see pimps, prostitutes walking up and down Mentor Avenue, walking up and down Market Street, walking up and down Main Street, where the offices were closed, when Blue Cross and Blue Shield and Provident, when they would close at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, it would be a ghost town downtown. It wasn't until they built the aquarium when Jack Lupton came off that mountain and said, "We got to do something.
got
We
to
got to
do
put
something.
something down here."
Right, do something. I'm glad I was shout out the City High. Well, by that time it was called Phoenix 3 Dale. You know what I mean? The system, the
Oh,
best school to me ever. But
come
listen,
on, Domino.
shout out to them because when they built the aquarium, the whole school got free tickets, got free
Period.
passes for the whole year. We was in the aquarium and inviting our friends that went to other schools that didn't even they couldn't afford it either. I couldn't either at the time, but I was thankful my grandmother got their family pass. But yeah, it's things like that that we talk about, and they'll try to. And I had once before had talked about and shared on social media, like how they'll try to, get remove the general out the way, right? That's why it's best to have multiple generals in place. So if they try to remove me, you got a Nix, you got a Naquan, you got an Anthony Burr, you got different generals that's on the ground, so they can't just stabilize you and get you, right? You know what I mean? So we got to still have those soldiers on the ground that's in place that's willing to fight the battle. But we got too many generals that they end up getting muzzles over their mouth. They'll get in office and they forget about you. They just needed you for that moment. They don't show up, they don't do nothing, right? And you all see it.
Or
I don't even have to name drop, like, or either they run for office and lose or not win. They don't even come back till the next time this when you see these people again, right? But let me get back to what I was saying. I was I've never felt hated, so much hatred, right? Until I got elected for office. And it was like, man, people was like saying stuff like, oh, you think you better than everybody. Oh, you this, you done changed, you get money. They put money in your pocket. Now they weren't putting money in my pocket, but I was putting money in my community pocket, and half of the time I didn't even have the money to do it. right? I was paying my bills. I was helping making payment arrangements on my bills to make sure that my constituent bills didn't get disconnected, that they
Come on
had
now.
somewhere to stay. I was meeting the kids at the bus stop, not my kids, but once I picked up Peyton at the bus stop, I'm picking up 8 other kids who mama ain't at home or who mama somewhere tricking out, bringing them to my house, and we ain't even got nothing to eat. We eating packs of noodles and cups of noodles, but I made sure them other 8 kids was able to eat.
Come on
Nobody
now.
talk about that kind of stuff when a parent was getting evicted. I took them in my house. I gave up my bed and slept on the pallet so somebody else's kid can have somewhere to stay and the mama can sleep on my couch. They don't talk about that kind of stuff. I'm that kind of server. Why? Because that's how my grandmama was. She opened up her house. She didn't meet strangers. She made sure that she took care of everybody. And I moved that same way too. Because when it was me, and as I remember when it was me and when somebody opened up their door for me, right? So I don't close my door on people. I want to help as many people that I can. But to be hating to say, we only made at that time like $20,000 a year. That wasn't no money. I was living off my credit cards because jobs was like, it was a conflict of interest for me to serve on council and then work at this job, which was crazy because I'm looking at everybody else around me that didn't look like me, but they either had their own thriving businesses or they was working at a organization that it wasn't a conflict of interest. So it was confusing to me. But I felt like it was their way in saying, we need you to quit. We're going to make sure that we remove everything away from you that you're going to throw the towel in and say, you know what, I can't do this no more. But I did it anyway, right? I was serving in poverty and still helping my very people that was in poverty. You know what I mean? But people don't even realize that. And they'll say, dang, Coonrod make it look so good. Yeah, I made it look good because I wanted people to know, although that you are struggling, baby, you still can rise above that, right? You can do it too. It ain't just me. It's for you too to do. Like you can do it. It's nothing that you go through that you can't do. Next, it had done got serious, baby. When you get to that end of the bread and you gotta fold it with that last piece of bologna sandwich that you
Listen
got.
now.
Oh, listen. That it had done got serious like that, but at the end of the day, I had great friends, and one just hopped on here, Rebecca Johnson, baby Becky. It was nothing for her to say, baby, I cooked. Come get you a plate or I'm bringing you a plate. It was nothing for Chip Henderson. Coonrod with my wife cooking today. I got you a plate. It was nothing for people who genuinely understood that I'm here for the people and they was willing to help out. Those are the people that I love. Those are the people that I continue to keep close with me. Baby,
That's
we
what I
don't tell you even your fish fries, baby. Like, I mean, it's just people
Baby,
that
you can
show
always
genuine
come and get a
love.
fish. You know when I'm frying fish, you can always come get your fish sandwich.
Yes, baby, and pulling up. And I think, that's what separated me from everybody else because my community that I serve, my district and everybody else's district, they genuinely loved me and cared for me. They see me in public. I'm not like, what they speaking to me. None of that, baby. We hugging, we dapping up, we fist bumping, we coming to the cookouts, we line dancing, we all that because they realize, oh, she human too. And that's what they love about me. I respect them where they are and respect them where they going.
And that's what I love about you too. Now listen. So we done talked about y'all. If y'all just now coming in, y'all need to share this. Make sure that you tell people this is the what's the 423 podcast hosted by your boy Sean Nix. We got Demetrus Coonrod in, a forever Chattanooga City Councilwoman. Because like I said when you left, even though your shoes may be tiny, you the person who sit in your seat got big shoes to fill. And right now I'm just gonna be real, which I'm putting on out there. I don't think they got it. I don't think they got a corn ride. I don't think they cut out for it. And it's gonna be I hope they get it together. Hope they be more for the people than for what they got going on because it's a difference. And we see that difference. And we see that change. And I know your people. I know your people are dishing down miss you. I bet when you go into the stores, they say, "Oh, Rob, we miss you. We need you." Y'all can put her on. Y'all can put her in state house. Tell us about that race, boo.
Well, everywhere I go, my people say, and they most definitely miss me. But I'm still here. I'm still popping up. I'm still loving on them the same. Still calling them, checking in on them, stopping by. When you build those special relationships, like it's just not for you to throw it away and wait till the next season. Now we keep doing the same thing, right?
Hmm.
But I will say, when I ran for that state house race, it was the most it was weird to me. Like I just people what I've not been able to wrap my hands around, Nix, is that why people campaign dirty. Cause I'm a firm believer, like just let people run their race, right? But in that District 28 race, what I saw, man, was just craziness. It was like, what is going on? Why people doing all that crazy stuff? One, but what I realized, Nix, is they had to. They had to campaign negative against me because he was gonna lose. And I ain't being cocky
But
when I say that. I ain't being cocky when I say that because I knew one thing for sure. One thing for
Joe,
sure,
you was gonna lose, Joe.
people was
That's
tired
his real
of it.
name. If y'all don't know, I gotta get messy a little bit. Y'all,
Yeah.
if y'all didn't know, his real name is Joe Paul. He goes by Joe Paul. That's his real name, but he goes by Yusuf Hakeem. But go ahead, clock
But
it.
and it was that kind of thing, run your own, but they knew they had to because one, he was gonna lose. So it was too much energy. And I ain't even have no money. And the energy was all about Coonrod. And one thing he knew, or they knew, the campaign team, that he wasn't gonna outwork me. That's for sure. Knocking on doors, he wasn't finna knock on no doors. Like he may have a couple of people knocked on a couple of doors, but we knocked on over 20,000 doors, right? Not personally knocking on doors, right? And his endorsements, he got the one endorsement with the Change Tennessee, and it's like they offer you the text into the whole district. So without that texting that he wouldn't have had access to, he wouldn't have been able to reach the masses through Texas, and the people that I couldn't reach that wouldn't be at home and text. People gonna look at a text.
Right.
So I think, with that, and I didn't have no time to bounce back after I went to court and proved I stayed in the district at the time. Yeah, of course I bought a house. It wasn't no secret. It was never a secret. But at the end of the day, I stayed in the district and needed to finish out my term, right? Now I moved in another area. I'm in the county, but I'm still in State House District 28. But the people behind it that don't always look like you, when you have white women getting in the space of black communities and puppeting our elected officials, like I got a problem with that, and our community should have a problem with that too.
And
I've
we
lost
talking about Carissa Barclay. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I've lost all respect, right? And it just don't make sense. And it always happens in our community. And at what point do our community say we done had enough? You stay way almost in Georgia somewhere, and in a gated community that people can't even get access, but people feel so freely want to get involved in our community and try to pick and choose who gonna lead our communities. And now we don't have time for that. We don't have time to be having people who don't live in our community, wasn't raised in our communities, wasn't born in our communities, who's never worked in our communities, ain't never fed nobody in our community,
Come on
trying
now.
to treat us like we're a charity. No, right? You don't know what that feels like. And to have people to come and say they come from higher income demographics that's growing up with two-parent households, who's raising their kids in two-parent households, who's got multiple streams of income, for you to come to an impoverished community to say we want so and so, and then you do the things that you do negative against the person that's actually doing the work. Our community should be in an outrage, and it happens far too many times than none, right? That's what we
But you
got.
know what? You gotta fault at the same time. You gotta fault those who are in power over the county party because it's all an apparatus. This whole thing is a whole apparatus, a whole structure of how some political structures are used to keep people oppressed when they should be liberating us.
Oh, listen, now you opened up the door. I knew you was gonna do that, but I'm just gonna walk on in it. So
Come
when we're
on
talking
in.
about the Democrat Party, like the previous chair was terrible. Not just that, like they was telling candidates not to speak to me, not to work with my none of these people. And what was crazy is that the people was actually listening to it. But you know what I done? Every time I would hop on the call, I would say, you know what? Let me get your literature and I'll help you pass out your literature because our districts overlap and I'll put your stuff in the mailbox too, right? Why? Because they wasn't coming to our areas. They
Right.
weren't coming to our areas engaging and knocking on our doors because some people are afraid, like they'll say, don't go to this area. I'm going to every area, right? Because we want to engage everybody that's a voter. And
Everybody.
if you're afraid to come to these areas, it don't, then maybe you shouldn't be the person to represent us, right? You had candidates who didn't even realize you had black communities in their district. But
Yep.
you showing up for photo ops. Nah, baby, we not finna do that, right? If you can't come knock on our doors, don't stop at this fire hall. thinking you finna be in a photo op. Baby, it's not that work. This, if you win, you do know you represent these people too. And if you're afraid to represent us, then you don't need to be in office. But you
Come on
have
now.
so many people that's like that. But back to this Democrat Party, like, I'm disgusted with the Democrat Party. Although now we have a black woman that's in place, I'm happy that we do have one in place, but it's a lot of work that she's gonna have to do to try to fix somebody else's damage. And
And it's a lot of
it's a
damage.
lot of damage that they've done with, and I've always known, like, you don't have to be a part of a political party to identify as a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. Whoever put that out there that you gotta be done lost their marbles. And it's the fact that the Democrat Party challenged me as a Democrat
Right.
in the midst of this, like, I'm just like, really? We finna go here, right? But then
Yeah.
they didn't have the balls enough. They put another black person, my colleague at the time, a black woman, put her up to try to do
We're
her
talking
dirty,
about Double Dip Dodley at the time.
but put her up to do the dirty work. But you know, when people move snakes, you already aware of how they moving, but it don't even, the stuff that they said was like, wow, I can't even believe they said that. I'ma always use
But
my
you know,
voice
I noticed something that some white people will use black people to do their dirty work against
every
other
time.
black people. And
Every
that's
time.
sad that our people, it's just like that field Negro, house Negro
Man.
syndrome, and they still use that against us. And that's sad that she fell for the okie doke.
It's so many people that's like that though, and you like, man, what is really going on, right? And I'm like, yeah. And anytime I'm going to a Republican meeting to check out Marta Haynes next week on the 21st, I believe it is. Why? Because they're not coming to our communities and they represent our communities. Now, when a Democrat, and I made this suggestion before, the Democrat Party needs to invite all elected officials. I don't care what you are, Democrat or Republican. If you represent us, they need to be coming and answering our questions, right? To give us the information. And the Republicans, Democrats need to go to their meetings too. I've been to several of their meetings and done spoke several times on issues that I'm concerned with, because at the end of the day, these policies affect everybody. I don't care if you black, white, independent, Republican, and whatever you are, because look at what's happening on a national level. All this stuff that's happening, and these people thought that it was going to only affect black people. It's not affecting us. It's not affecting us, but then the huff and puff because black people ain't showing up for these protests and all this
We
stuff.
did.
Nah, baby, we done had enough of that. We need y'all to start showing up for us when we're leading, right? All these people that organizations and donors who done left the Democrat Party because we elected a black woman. That's troubling to even think that here in 2025, this is space that we're still operating. The same black woman that's done showed up for everybody campaign, who done did the hard work to help with this Democrat Party. You turned, and she was good then. You gave her atta girls, and we appreciate you, and oh, you're so awesome. But when the work is ready to be done, now you withdrawing. Like, to me, that's something to say about the Democrat Party, but it's my hope, and I don't care who's leading the Democrat Party. It's my hope that black people will rise up and truly become independent. That our districts are just not marginalized, that we only represent each other, the black elected officials that we have, the 8 of us that it was, or however many it is now, but all of us represent each other. And it should, somebody should be like, nah, man, why is they redlining our districts to where that's the way that it is, right? You gerrymander our districts, you put everybody that's in poverty, impoverished communities all together. Like, that stuff is by design, and it shouldn't be like that. And then when you look at it, you look at the school boundaries for the school districts and the school board members, like, it's the same thing. Like, people just not paying attention and realizing. So when these people get in office on the other side, on our county side, and they don't pay us no attention, they feel like they don't have to. They
That's
don't have
right.
to pay us no attention.
Yeah.
That's what they saying. Then too, when they be like, sent me a post of somebody that I don't even know who the person is, but they was on Facebook saying that, oh, this is what you shouldn't let former elected officials get involved in your community affairs. Yes, you do. I'm gonna get involved in them every chance I get. Why? Because I'm living in these communities. It don't stop because you no longer an elected official. Like, who said that you ain't supposed to be involved? That's what suckers say.
Period.
That's what people who don't know no better say, who want to pretend like they educated. Or if I get on live spitting on everybody every day, wasting breath for no reason and beat everybody down rather than lift them up. Like, that's to be celebrated. But I don't move like that because we got enough people doing that, right? These people that's never held a title and people who don't know what's going on and who can't afford dental insurance, that's the moves that they do, right?
I'm hollering because I live for a good dental plan because I got to keep my back teeth.
Baby, yes,
We
you gotta.
got C Day. C Day said, "What my reparations at?" Hey, you could have had your reparations if you voted Democratic, and because Harris was working on that, that would have been the move. We could have been there, had that check by now. But I know 92% of the black folk, black women went to the polls and voted for Harris. 89% of black men. I'm part of the 89%. Coonrod, I know she part of the 92. So that's all I can give you at this point, C Days. But yeah, moving right along now. Now listen, you talked me about how they did you dirty during the campaign and all this stuff. He won. Yeah, that's cool. He won. He got the seat, right? But we in the off season. He ain't in. He not in Nashville right now. You know, if you were state house rep, what were you be doing at this time?
Man, was like that's an understatement, baby. I'm the state rep for our district because I show up, right? I just ain't got the pay to go with it. I'm writing legislation, all that stuff, going up to Nashville, meeting with the legislative team, drafting legislation, getting in the face of the legislators, like, hey, can you sponsor this? Can you do this? Can you do that? That's what a representation does, and that's what it look like, right? You still got to show up for your community, wherever, however, whenever, right? You ain't gotta always have on a suit. Like, you can show up in jeans and a t-shirt or however you catch me in public, that's how I'm coming. Except I ain't coming with no head rag on. I ain't no bonnet and all that stuff. But with the way that you see me, that's how I'm gonna be. And we gonna talk about it, even in the aisles or whatever it is, right? If you want me to call you back or to help you, I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna get what you need me to do, and I'm gonna follow back up with you. I still do this now. Now, I don't go to every neighborhood meeting now, but I pop in. You know what I mean? Every now and then I hop in the neighborhood meetings, hop on Zoom meetings, still knocking on doors, showing my presence or however it is, because that's what you do. You don't just show up when it's election season time. You got to show up even in the off season. So people know that you still care about them, like you love them. And I think sometimes the people forget about it, right? They forget, oh, damn, we just voted for that person. Oh, well, I'm finna go because I'm gonna vote for them because they sit on the same church pew as I do. Oh, my pastor got in the pulpit and said vote for this person. Well, you and why they even saying that when you know that your your mate at your church ain't doing nothing? Like, we got to start having honest conversations with people that's running for office. Like, although people got the freedom to run for office, but stop wasting space if you know that you're not the better candidate. And people should be like, okay, well, I'm going to support the better candidate. We should be okay with that, right? But at what time do we start a pipeline of people that are black to get them prepared to run for office? Because the Republicans, they're
Oh yeah,
already
they got a
years
bench. They bench
ahead.
is deep.
Years ahead, right? They
Oh
got to
yeah.
line up and for 2030, and we still sitting here recycling the same people that can barely walk, can barely move. And that says something about our community, is that we'll rather run our leadership in the ground until they dead
And
than
see,
to
that's
say,
not
let's
just
get
that.
other people prepared.
You know what? And that's not even just on the local level. That's nationwide. We got
Right.
too many. We done had too many Democrats in Congress die in office this session. It's insane. Like, we done lost 3 seats
It just
just
don't
because
even
folks
make
done
sense.
died.
All
Like,
this
no
time that
shade to the elders.
it
I
ain't
love
no
them to
shade.
death.
No, it
But
ain't none. But I mean, hey, what I gotta disagree on Biden. I mean, he just wasn't never my favorite person when he came up with that crime bill. Like, I still feel some kind of way. We still, and then tonight when he had the opportunity to give people pardons, nothing. He didn't pardon nobody. Like, everybody thought it was a win, and I tried to educate people when he was like, okay, if you had a federal charge on a small amount of marijuana, doesn't want nobody in federal prison for no small amount of marijuana. That was decades and years ago. But this
right.
man had the opportunity to undo it, and he chose not to. That's what he chose to do, right? All these years that this man done been in Congress, he's done nothing. Once he become the president, I can't think of nothing. And I just say, in my opinion, for me, I just wasn't satisfied with what he was bringing. That's it.
Period. Well, I'm gonna
Wasn't
let you
satisfied
have
with what
that.
he was
I'm
bringing.
gonna let you have that one.
Yeah.
So when it come down to your okay, so you always say you in the neighborhoods, you always doing your own thing, you working on your own. When it came down with that whole Eastdale situation, like, do you feel that our current state rep should have still had the Eastdale meeting and shouldn't have been canceled?
Absolutely. He should be having meetings quarterly anyway, right? To update people on the legislative actions. It's more than just coming to the legislative round table when they have at the downtown at the chamber with other legislators because the community ain't coming. They ain't showing up to that. He need to host his meetings. And I'm sure his people on here listening, some of them, I want you to be listening so you can go back and you can tell them these are tools he need to put into his toolbox to have to prepare his community. That meeting should have never been canceled. It should have been had still, even though that Bob Corker was able to get Maxim being not to go over there and something else is going to happen that's going to turn out so beautiful for the community. But he still should have had it. He still should have communicated. He should have owned up to, listen, I misspoke. And that's okay, right? Because people understand, like, okay, you may not have had all the details on it, but you did. And we want to know why you simply just didn't come back. Let's correct it. Let's move on to the next one, right? Ownership, I'm big with that. Because if it was me, I would have took ownership for it. I would have said, what we doing differently to move past this. And I still need your support. Here, I need y'all to show up because these people don't even listen to me. Right? And that's what's done happen to our state rep. They feel like they can make decisions for District 28 because they don't even want to involve him. But Bo Watson, he's over the Senate 10, which is Eastdale too. So both of them should be working together. But when you look at all the things since he's been in office, where he aligns at, baby, Bo Watson run the show. He
Come
run
on
the
now.
show. So at the end of the day, it's like, what we coming to you for? We may as well just go straight to Bo Watson. Bo, where
Well,
the money at? Bo,
hey,
when can you put
if
us
you
in the
listen
budget?
and I want you to come on my podcast, what's the 423 podcast? Bob Watson. I need you on the spot, bro. We got to talk about this education reform and these vouchers. Because we broke in the public school system right now. Gone back to you, sis.
Yeah, so I just think for us, we gotta stop being afraid to holler at Republicans. We gotta call them too. We gotta call all of them because if you just want to holler about what Republicans ain't doing, but then you looking in your backyard and these Democrats doing the same thing, boy, you gotta ask the
You got
questions like, man, what's really going on, right? And they'll say that the Republicans racist, and they may be, but to be honest with you, I done met some racist Democrats. I
yeah,
done met
I call them
yeah,
Dixiecrats.
I done met some racist Democrats, and to be honest too, like when I came home from prison, wasn't none of the Democrats trying to help me. Not until I got a part of. Once I became doing work and doing this and got involved with the Democrat Party, most definitely terribly, people wanted to help. But when it came to stuff that I needed to get done, like restoring my rights and all that stuff, it was the Republicans who said, "Baby, let me show you." When I got all the way to pick up paperwork to run for office, what I got calls from the Democrats saying is, oh, you can't run for office. Okay, why I can't run for office? Well, they were scared to even say something about my background. But it was Miss Charlotte that worked at the election commission who called me and said, let me tell you the steps of what you need to do.
Come on
You
now.
got to get your rights restored. You got to get your citizenship rights restored so you can run for office. I already had got my voting rights restored. I just hadn't took that next step. So it was with Miss Charlotte that gave me enough time so I can get everything, my paperwork, go to court. And it was within 24 hours that I had left to submit my paperwork to get qualified so I could run for office. And I was the number 11 that got my citizenship rights restored. So I tell people all the time, don't just stop at getting your voting rights restored. Make sure you get your citizenship rights restored because that opened up the door to getting your gun rights. You got to keep fighting for every single thing that they took because they only want you to stop at your voting rights. And majority of the time, people don't even go get their rights back. They just want to get a job.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So for y'all who are coming in, we want to thank y'all so much who are coming in, watching the 423 podcast. This is the Juneteenth edition, especially only on Facebook. But you can follow me on Spotify, on YouTube, on my link tree. What's the 423 podcast? Hosted by your big homie, myself, Sean Nix. I got my girl, Miss Demetrus Forever City Councilwoman Coonrod. I want to thank y'all so much for her coming on and for y'all tuning in. So let's get back into this thing, baby, because we ain't done yet. Because I want to know, because I know you always moving and shaking and moving. I always see you little clips here, little clips there, doing little community service here, shaking hands here. going to Nashville, kicking it with the governor there. So let me know. Let me know something, sis. What's going on, baby? What you got planned?
Man, what's planning is the way these wigs dropping. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Pay
Shout out to
attention,
my
y'all. Pay
loctician.
attention.
Shout out to my loctician, D. Shay. That's what I'm saying. Listen, my husband, Anthony Glad, and the best. He put me up on game with these wigs. And you see him out there, you'll see he got them too. But you know what, son? I'm just chilling right now. Like, I'm chilling right now. Like, I'm really enjoying it. Just, having the ability to drink a glass of wine if I want to in public, 2, 3, the whole bottle if I choose to, right? I'm,
Period.
I'm
Hold up, pull
enjoying,
back.
yeah, I'm enjoying going to the backyard barbecues and just having deep, honest conversations without people, running up thinking it's something else, right? Like, I'm just here to be having fun right now. I ain't here because I'm a politician. I'm here because I want to be here and I love my people. I enjoy having great conversations with the police department that, just well, building those relationships continuously. Like, just that kind of stuff is that I am really enjoying right now. I ain't got to worry about watching my figure because the camera gonna catch a glimpse of me with a double chin or something, baby. I'm tearing up all the fried chicken right now. You
I'm
know what I mean? I'm
screaming.
eating all the Hawaiian rolls and all the German chocolate cake. Like I got some years to make up, but I'm just, I'm just enjoying having a great time right now. And a lot of people, ask, well, Coonrod, they always say they miss me, and I know they do. I miss them too, but it doesn't change nothing, right? They still got my personal number, right? They got my email. Baby, they publicize my address to both houses. Pull up, right? And so we can have a front porch conversation. You know what I mean? But I do. I'm licensed to carry, so you can best believe I'm gonna protect my space if you coming with that. You know what I mean? And I still know how to, give a jab or two, cross hook jab. You know what I mean? But I don't even want to get off into that. But I still got aspirations to run for office again. And I plan to run again, and I hope that the community can get behind us and full support, because it's needed, it's time. You know what I mean? Because what I'm passionate about, Nick, it's at the state level, because I realize after serving on the local level in Chattanooga, you can legislate whatever, create all kind of ordinance or whatever, but if it ain't in line with the state gonna overturn it, right? And that's the most frustrating thing when you have state laws in place that that's keeping people oppressed and suppressed and in poverty at the same time, and you don't have the voices that's fighting for Hamilton County, for your area, right? And so I realized that. And when we're talking about housing, the affordable housing that we have, or the so-called plans that we have in place, that's got to be changed. When we're talking about the most damaging system is this welfare system, right? You got to
Come
have
on
people
now.
that's fighting to change that stuff. The child support system, like the Social Security, like you got to have people that's ready to fight to dismantle these systems so that people that look like you and I can have a fighting chance. And I'm ready to do that, right? We know election season comes around again next year, people. I know that you tired. You probably feel like it's voter fatigue and all this old stuff. Black people don't come out and vote. You know the stuff that they tell you. But I refuse to believe that, because we do vote. We come out, we show out in numbers. And that's what I'm asking you to do when it come around. Like, hit me up if you got any questions, concerns, or you want to know what's my stance on certain things. I ain't never shied away from anything. I'm going to always be honest with you. But I need you to understand what we got at stake, right? And if you ain't got the people representing you, you got to put the right people in place to represent you, right? And that's what it's going to take. So what's going to be on the ballot? You got all those county seats, the county commissioners, the county mayor. You got the state representative seats that's coming up. You got Congress coming up. You got all these seats. And not just paying attention to the District 28 race. You guys need to pay attention to all these races.
Congress.
You got to pay attention to all of them to make sure that you get in. And it was one, I was in the room and somebody was like, well, not said that they hadn't heard if anybody was going to run against Western Rump. And my soul cringed, because I knew that person, you don't see them doing nothing in our community. He a Democrat. They don't do nothing in our community. Period. They talk shit from the Dales, but they ain't coming and interacting in our community. But when it's time, just
Well,
be mindful.
David,
Just be
if you
mindful.
gonna run, David,
Just
you
be
gonna
mindful
lose.
of people that they'll speak and say stuff, but they ain't coming out here to holler at you to make sure that you good in your community. Be careful about those people, because they'll show up around election time and they'll tell you, oh, I'm gonna pay you to work on my campaign, I'm gonna do this. These people don't care about you, they just need your vote for that moment. It's
That's
after,
right.
after that state house seat was, and So many people that was working on the opposition side, they call me right now today asking for my help. Because the other side had done made promises about helping them and doing stuff and doing this. Now I could have been the type person to say, nah, I can't help you. Go back to the person who told you that. And which I did. I said, did you call them? Did you email them? Did you have access to them like you got access to me? But my heart wouldn't allow me to decline help for them, right? I still
Because
help them.
that's the
But
the
right,
servant leadership within you.
that's it. That's it. But yeah, I'm really excited about it, folks. Like it's I need your help. Like that's where we are. And right now, that's the space that I'm in. It may change tomorrow. It may change at the beginning of the year. But right now, it's my desire to run for State House District 28 again and again and again and again. If I need
Run
to.
it back, run it
Right.
back, run it back.
Right. I said it at a debate that I was the best candidate then. I still feel like I'm the best candidate now and will still feel that way. And I just have your best interests at heart because I'm people centered first.
Clock it. Y'all, I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in to What's the 423 podcast with your host, your big homie Sean Nix, my special guest, Ms. Demetrus Forever City Councilwoman Coonrod. That's your new name in my phone. I just want to let you know that. So I want to thank y'all again for tuning in on this special Juneteenth edition, the Freedom Edition, on how we get free. She has dropped so much knowledge on this one podcast. So I want to make sure that y'all listen to it, share it. Make sure y'all tune in to the next one. You can check out my next episode on YouTube and on Spotify. So what's the 423? Where community meets culture. Y'all have a good night.
Peace out.